Comprehension and Dyslexia. Dyslexia is a diagnosis that needs to be done at a very early stage in order to try and prevent academic failure. Students who are not diagnosed properly early on are not getting the appropriate approaches and appropriate interventions in order to address this decoding need before it becomes a larger academic issue. Often these students later on in their schooling through later elementary end up being described as struggling readers or learning disabled. It's a little different because if they had those early interventions for word recognition, this gap may not be as big. This is something that I feel my student is struggling with. She came to us in second grade, and these interventions were not in place for her prior to that. She also didn't like coming to school often because everything was very difficult. It was hard for her to understand the language. It was hard for her to read anything on grade level. And this is also something that she may, if she does have dyslexia, may struggle with for the rest of her life. The school-based team believes that she is dyslexic. We are completing the rest of our evaluations to confirm this diagnosis. Currently, when she came, we realized that decoding was her main problem. So we began an Orton-Gillingham approach where we did sound to symbol and symbol to sound card drills daily. We did this through a multi-sensory approach. We broke down and structured our program into words, sentences, and passages in order to build up her stamina for reading. To monitor this at the time, we had been using Dibbles and the Bass or the Fontesem Pinnell in order to monitor her progress over the last year. Luckily, I was able to have her for a tutoring program over the summer, and I feel that she and I were able to continue on with that year of learning, and she has made such great gains that she now needs other interventions in order to help her smallen the gap between her and her peers. In order to enhance these strategies and interventions, I plan on incorporating daily writing, fluency work, and guided reading. I feel with these 3 extra interventions, I am still going to keep increasing her decoding skills, and at the same time, I will also be able to increase her comprehension skills. During our daily writing activities, I am finding ways that every single day we will make sure that we do some type of writing that's not only through a dictation in our Orton-Gillingham program. One way I plan to do this is predictable writing, where she's given a sentence and she has to find the missing word. This missing word will most likely come from our decoding and encoding skill that's being taught at the moment. One sentence. So it could be from reading the passages in our Orton-Gillingham program, and then she could be answering one sentence, full, complete sentences about what she has read in order to build that writing. And then also sentence syntax, which will make her a better editor of her own writing and help her start seeing any errors that might be there, whether it's letter reversal she might notice or more of illogical sentences, which I know sometimes she speaks that way, so it comes out in her writing as well. And this can help us by seeing things and learning to find errors within sentences that aren't necessarily hers. Our fluency work, this will happen in order to build up her automaticity of reading. So I can start by scaffolding oral reading, which would mean that she's reading along with me just a little bit behind. This way she knows the words, she tracks along the way, and this will help her see words, hear words, and speak words in a proper way. Words per minute, and I can do this in order to see how many words she can read in a minute. And this can also give her a little motivation within herself in order to get more and more each time. And the short passage fluency will be giving her a passage and seeing how long it takes her to read that passage that's at her independent reading level and how fluent she can do that for me. Within our guided reading groups, I plan to focus on story grammar. This way she makes logical answers to what's going on in a story, not just throwing out details that happen to stick in her mind, but doing sequencing, character setting, more specific and focused answers. Predicting, having her use things that she learned in the text that have made her make the prediction she did rather than just guessing. And also making inferences so that she goes beyond the text, not only what she sees in a picture or those small details that she may remember. To differentiate, in the daily writing will be based on her needs. So we can move from completing sentences to creating sentences and making sure that the adult assistance versus independence starts building towards the independence more. For fluency, I would differentiate based on her reading level compared to other peers that may be in the room with us and the amount of time that she spends on a reading passage. For guided reading, again, it will be based on the student's independent reading levels and where they are as personal readers at the moment. And I will utilize visuals for her. This way she remembers what it is that she's looking for when she's going into a book and what's expected of her once she finishes that book. And I will also work on not having it be a read aloud all the time, but start working towards her going off and independently completing some of these tasks on her own. To assess her in daily writing, I will use her student work and data sheets based on her task completion and independence. For her fluency, it will also be data sheets and graphs that I will have her graph her progress so she can see her own increase in words per minute, and I plan to use A to Z reading fluency passages. For guided reading, it will be based on her student work and her achievement on things like the Fontes and Pinnell benchmark as well as the A to Z benchmark assessments. In conclusion, I feel that overall unaddressed dyslexia impacts more than just the decoding. This has been clear to me with this specific student that I am working with because now many areas of academia are difficult for her. She needs a better, well-rounded literacy program that I'm building now, which not only includes the word work, but written expression, fluency, and then that all together will help with her comprehension. And she needs to build her self-esteem, and this is happening starting with the word work, knowing that she can read, and then making it more appropriate in order for her to close the gap that's between her and her typical peers.